This is Chris Hansen.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
It's your favorite basketball player, Tyler Hansbrough.
This is Jamie Hudson.
This is TJ Hoochmanzada.
And I'm going to let y'all know something.
Duke sucks and Duke will always suck.
You're listening to.
It just makes sense.
It just makes sense.
Football is back, and so are we, boys. Listen, this podcast is not about being right. It's about being entertaining, and sometimes right.
Banana?
Oh, yeah. Banana!
Banana! A banana margarita?
Yeah.
That's the reason why they made it over Indiana and West Virginia and all these other teams.
Yeah.
They lost those games. I don't give a fuck if you played Auburn, but you lost. North Carolina does not deserve to be in a tournament.
If you're bitching about being the, 69th team in the nation, check yourself a little bit at this point.
We're back. Clear eyes.
Full heart!
Can't lose.
Play like a champion! The Ekojis run deep. The Ekojis run deep. Miguel, you're a prick, by the way.
Agreed.
All right, good night, everyone.
Really starting the energy up.
Let me open my case of Big Man certified cigars.
Nice. You got those printed, huh?
No, I bought a case from I bought merch from the company.
Oh,
Guys,
yeah. Never heard
I
of
forgot to tell you one significant part about my interview.
it. Okay.
During the interview, went to grab my water bottle and take a drink, and the sticker that was facing the camera was Big Man certified.
That's awesome. That's incredible.
And he didn't ask about it.
No, I saw it as I'm taking the drink, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna pretend like no big thing.
Yeah.
But it was literally a fat man, scantily clad.
You.
It was me.
I would say that would be an advantage to most companies, but people in Utah don't have a fucking sense of humor, so they probably took that the
He
wrong
thought
way.
it was porn.
Yeah. I know, right? That's the whole thing. You're a liability.
Yeah.
HR liability.
Yeah.
Miguel was not very nice to me this weekend, though.
What did he do?
He was not impressed by my sink. He was not impressed by my sink.
I mean, he did a good job.
Thank you. You didn't even look at the sink. You didn't even compliment it.
I did, but I feel like I made some good points.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And then,
I mean, are we going to disagree that time is more valuable than money?
I agree to a degree, but there is a level of pride one has with being able to accomplish a homeowner's task. But the other thing too is that, like, as aggressive as you were about like how I shouldn't be proud about the things that
wasn't
I did,
aggressive.
well,
Jesus.
no. It just like it read rather curt. Then like in the group chat, you just go, okay, so everyone, you can fight. What was 5 9-year-olds or 5 11-year-olds?
Listen, I would admit if I was a little brash with my comments instead of like acknowledging the great job that you did, but I don't think I'm in the wrong to feel that way because I am constantly surrounded in this group by testosterone of guys doing housework. And it's like, okay, is your dick bigger now? Cool. I'm going to hire someone. I don't give a fuck that you did your own shit. But that's been years, so if I made a comment, you can deal with it.
It is funny, but like Braxton and I hung out a little bit this weekend. I came down to his house, ate some of the pork. It was delicious. Watched some basketball, Selection Sunday.
Did you bring the whole fam or just you?
It was me
and you weren't uncomfortable.
No.
Why would he be uncomfortable?
I was making a joke.
Broderick was there. Broderick, my pretentious son. No, so we were like, hey, isn't this great? We're talking about all these things, but then also taxes. I think it was like, drinking beers, watching basketball, but taxes. Oh, can lights,
Yeah.
So
what's up with taxes? Have you guys not filed?
No,
they suck. Taxes in general.
Just in general.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Miguel, you're right after you said that I shouldn't be proud of installing a sink. You said, how many 11-year-olds are you willing to fight For a reward of $100,000 a kid if you win. They swarm you as a group, not one at a time. You can have one blunt object. If you get beat, you get $0. I don't know. We're going to have to clarify what beat is. The kids are not trained fighters, but they are obese losers. They're not obese losers either. Their only goal is to hurt you, and they don't have weapons.
Losing just means that you come out of it. You come out of it. It's not to the death.
Knock one of them unconscious, they're out.
They're out. Yeah, and someone had asked, do you fight them to the death? I think like a 2 or 3 knockdown rule or like a knockout.
If I take a baseball bat to the side of their head, they're done.
They're done.
Okay.
But
Will
again,
you read my response?
They're swarming.
Here is the level of complication that I think that I feel like out of water, I can take these kids easy. But have you ever been in a pool with like nieces and nephews or whatever who are just like absolutely trying to drown you?
I completely disagree.
Really?
I will drown all of them at once.
That's true.
Yeah, this is absolutely on land. This is not in water.
Absolutely, it's on land. All right. So how many people? What did you say, Braxton?
I said read my response.
Braxton says, give me a DeMarini. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, baseball bat. Vendetta, and I'll take Dan Baker's dozen. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's a fair number. Like 10 to 12 is not being too greedy.
It's 13.
13. But like, I think if you are going over 15, you're overestimating. Because like, one question that I got, the reason why I clarified that is like, are they like fucking Shaolin monks from China that's just gonna fucking roundhouse kick you in the head?
Crouching tiger.
I know. Jesse gave this long ass response, and he was
finally he gets
and then he at the end of it goes, "I could take on 7." And it's like, what?
Yeah,
with a blunt object.
Their one goal is to injure you, but they're not out of shape, but they're not like fucking UFC fighters either. They're just normal 11-year-old kids that are in shape.
And I think the key part of this argument or this hypothetical is their objective is to just hurt you. So they're not going to be going 100%. It would be one thing if they're trying to kill you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They don't get to have weapons. So I think my number is 12. Because I'm also trying to factor in taxes. Do I get 1.2 million, or is that after? Like, is that?
And how could this harm our economy in the future?
I don't give a shit.
That's true. Yeah, how
You know
could
what I
it
mean?
harm the economy?
Getting rid of 12, 11-year-olds will not do anything to the economy.
You never know. Could have killed Steve Jobs in that bunch, you know?
Kids that are signing up for this, we're not losing. We're not losing anything here. What's your number, Peter? You can't just go past this.
I can't just glaze over it.
Oh, you glaze enough.
Your order.
I don't think that. I think I'd probably be in the same baseball bat world, but like I would probably end up getting to. I would probably puss out, and I probably would.
Yeah, after like caving in a few adolescent children's faces.
So I feel like the ones that deserved it, like, you know, there's always one or two that deserve it, you know?
So you'd have conversations with each of these kids.
Yeah. So I think I'd probably get 1 to 2, and then I would feel pretty bad.
Yeah.
So
what, you would just give up?
Pussy.
Yeah.
Why start something that you're not going to see through?
Amen.
It's true. That's true.
Really?
Should we just
changes my opinion
there?
about you?
It means that I have a heart for the children.
Ooh.
We're talking about children trying to hurt you.
That's true. That's also very true.
Yeah, what if they, like, Walking Dead style were coming
well then, like, we're talking about...
Just picture that.
Yeah.
You're picturing kids at a school or something. That's why you're having difficulty with this.
Okay. Then, 17. We're going
Okay,
to 17.
Jesus Christ. My God.
Yeah.
Oh,
At that point, then it's just pent-up aggression.
Yeah,
you know.
you got problems.
Walking Dead 55. Easy.
Yeah.
We double down.
You can take people out pretty quickly on that one. So maybe one of those people will be that 57-year-old grandfather who was talking very loudly on the telephone there this past weekend.
Yeah.
How many
57.
spanks? It's weird. You haven't heard about that you get spanked on your birthday.
Yeah.
I grew up normal.
I'll tell the story again. It was revolting.
Yeah.
But at this weekend, well, not this weekend, yesterday, Jara and I went to the T-Mobile store. She had been informed a week prior that she would not be allowed to be on the family plan anymore.
Who told her that? They kicked her off.
Yeah, her dad and stepmom said, "Hey, we're going to go to some senior citizen plan. You have to be over 55.
Oh, really?
So we have to drop you."
Gotcha. So that's why it wasn't like,
Yeah.
hey, now that you actually have given birth, you're old enough to have your own family.
Yeah. No. So I told Jara, obviously, you can join my plan. I talked to T-Mobile. They said, yeah, this is all good. We had a couple back and forths with T-Mobile. We went into the store, talked to them on the phone, trying to get this all figured out because it was a little bit of a convoluted situation. And anyways, we got into T-Mobile yesterday. We had all the information necessary to get this transition done. And we had an hour and a half until we were going to a family dinner. So we were a little bit of a rush. And we're sitting there. It's already taking longer than we expected. And this older couple walks into the store. And the gentleman is on FaceTime talking to his granddaughter, I would assume. Her name was Stephanie. And she was turning 12.
So loud enough that you had
I have
all of the knowledge.
all of the details
Obnoxiously loud.
of this gentleman. And at first it was kind of a sweet conversation between a grandfather and granddaughter, wishing her a happy birthday. They obviously love each other and have a great relationship. But he then started asking how many times she had been spanked that day.
Right.
And continued to indulge in this conversation, saying, "Oh, did your friend spank you 12 times, Stephanie? Did your teacher spank you 12 times? Oh, Stephanie, I'm turning 57 next week. All my friends are going to spank me 57 times."
The guy's got a fetish.
It was very uncomfortable.
Yeah, and he's doing it out in the open
To his granddaughter.
To his granddaughter. So but you never
weird.
heard of this.
No.
I've definitely heard of it. You've heard of it, Pete.
1,000%. Yeah. I don't know where it comes from, but like it's ingrained in you.
Yeah, and I don't like it. I'm gonna say I'm anti
Right.
for sure.
You don't want to spank
But
Stephanie's
I'm
butt.
aware of it.
Yeah.
I do not want to spank Stephanie's butt.
Yeah. She's 12.
Of course.
I think the guy just wants to.
It was a little awkward.
Right. But
can't
you
be
said the
that
grandma
common.
the grandma was getting into
It's
it?
the knowledge of the spanking is common. To take it to that extent is uncommon, I agree. But yes, the grandma also got involved, was talking about how she's getting spanked and can't wait to spank the granddaughter. It was naughty.
She was like, "Grandpa's going to spank me so hard that I won't be able to walk tomorrow."
Speaking of not being able to walk tomorrow, I got Miguel's fiance good and drunk this past weekend. I bookended my weekend with both of you guys. It was Friday night. We did a little, what was it, a margarita tasting night. So that was great. I think that you got to a point where you were like, I think I need to take you home.
Can I guess what flavors you guys had?
Sure, yeah.
Give me one hint.
One of them is obscure.
One's very island.
Okay.
One's very colorful.
Okay.
And then
One's very minion.
Minion.
Is that like a pineapple?
No. We could have done a pineapple,
Okay.
but we did not. I've made a lot of these. No, that's not true. I've made one.
Peter
of
had
them.
set up flights, like remember from whiskey
Yeah, yeah,
tasting?
yeah.
Yeah,
we had
so
a ton of
I set up 5 or 6 of them, and then I paired it on the backside with
Paired
a spicy.
it?
No, that wasn't a clue. I paired it on the
Are
backside.
you sure there
with,
wasn't like a prickly pear or
Oh,
something?
there was a prickly pear.
Seriously?
Yeah, there was.
Okay.
Actually. Yeah, I forgot
That was
about
technically
that.
the
Yeah.
main star.
Yeah,
Okay, and there wasn't a pineapple.
no pineapple.
Okay.
You're not getting minion. That is a huge hint.
Is it?
Banana?
Oh yeah, banana.
Banana. A banana margarita?
Yeah. So at one
So
of our
banana and prickly pear I got.
Yes. Yeah, you did. You're not going to get one. One of them was apricot. You were never going to get
That was my next guess.
Sure.
One's island.
Island.
Yeah.
Well, guava.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guava,
Seriously?
indeed. Yeah, you're on a roll.
3 out of 4? I'll take her.
There's no way he gets the last one. So
You just told me.
no, there were 5. There were 5 total.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we got prickly pear, banana, guava, and then what was the 4th one you told me?
What'd you say? Prickly pear,
Prickly pear,
Guava.
guava,
banana.
Banana.
I told you apricot.
Apricot.
Yeah. The last one, there's just no way. I'm going to tell you because it is
Is it? What does it start with?
L.
Lemon?
Kind of. Limoncello.
Limoncello.
Yeah, there you go.
Langoustine.
Italia.
So, we also threw a mango one off the flight, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we might go prickly pear, right? We're going to
Yeah,
try
Ashley
a couple
ordered-
things out.
Ashley-
when you say we are going to do, what do you mean?
I don't know.
Well, he's helping us come up with this is going to be the
I played
batch.
bartender.
This is going to
Is
be
this for
the
your
batch
wedding?
cocktail for the wedding.
Yeah, that's what we were
okay.
testing.
So
it
Peter
for.
helped bartend and
Okay.
basically put everything together so we can
Okay.
come up with what Ashley's signature drink will be
Yeah.
because it'll be a margarita. But the prickly pear she brought is too syrupy, so she ordered a different one
Yeah.
that Lindsay found, and we'll test that one out.
So I imagine when you mix in the syrup, the color's off and all that.
Right, yeah.
One of them was too sweet.
Yeah, it was in order to achieve the color, you had to go overly sweet, and it was a whole thing. So
The
Absolutely.
limoncello was an Ashley experiment, and that was not good.
it's like it was fine for like that much that we had.
Yeah.
You have like 4 of those, and you're not having a good time.
You're gonzo.
So you gonzo.
You mind if I use your lighter, please?
I wonder who will be gonzo once we get to later this week between all of our tournament teams. Right now, behind this very camera, we are watching North Carolina right now hold a commanding lead over San Diego State. We had
You got to rephrase that. We have the very undeserving North Carolina
Tar Heels. Go off, Miguel. How do you feel about North Carolina playing in the tournament?
Well, if we can get rid and bomb a school, okay, everyone just take it easy.
Oh, calm down.
The shitty thing about this is we're watching them be up by 18.
Yeah.
They're going to win because San Diego State is trash. So are they. But this is going to make people say, well, they deserve to be in the tournament. Just because you win a fucking play-in game does not mean you deserve to be in the tournament. The thing that bothers me the most is people are making a case for North Carolina saying that they were, if you're a top 40 in the Ken Palm ratings, you deserve to be in the tournament. They had one quality win out of 12 that were scheduled.
Yeah, I think that they were 1-12 in their quad ones.
They were 1-12. They are 36 in Ken Palm ratings for all the nerds. But the thing that is playing to their advantage are, well, kind of 50-50 because ACC was garbage this year.
Yeah.
It's all about SEC. But, you know, people forget ACC's dominated in the last fucking 3 decades.
Sure.
They have one down year and all of a sudden everyone's trash. These teams still had to play Duke. They still had to play Clemson. They had a pretty decent, like, non-conference schedule. But I don't like being measured on I heard somebody say this. They played a really tough non-conference schedule, right?
Yeah.
Well, the goal isn't to play that schedule and fucking lose.
Yeah.
So they're saying
You need to actually
We
play and
beat
then
the
win
opponents
those games.
we chose to have.
Right.
Essentially.
You have opponents in front of you. You fucking win.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can get clowned. You can focus on details if you get past tiebreakers. Like, okay, well, how much did you beat him by? Did you dominate? Did you win by 30? Whatever it may be. But if you don't even get to that point, you are talking about a Carolina team that played a quote-unquote tough schedule outside of the ACC. That's the reason why they made it over Indiana and West Virginia and all these other teams.
Yeah.
But they lost those games. I don't give a fuck if you played Auburn, but you lost. That doesn't give them the right to put you in the play-in that you're going to win, and now people are like, well, they deserve to be in a tournament. Because look at NC State last year. NC State was trash. They made a deep run in the ACC tourney and then made it to the fucking Final Four. March Madness is unpredictable. North Carolina does not deserve to be in a tournament.
Well, and that's what I'm a little bit scared of, is that North Carolina might make a run. There's been one of these play-in teams that have made a run in at least the last 3-4 tournaments.
Right. It's not an irregular occurrence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
that would suck.
As much as I hate North Carolina, just like personally, this is not the type of, like, you take the first 4 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, right? Right before March Madness. The best thing about the first 4, the play-in games, is these games are reserved for the American College, the St. Francis University, the Alabama State Hornets, because you are giving those teams that otherwise wouldn't have a chance to be in the tournament.
Right.
This is not for a fucking blue blood, dude. If a blue blood is on the brink, if they're outside looking in, I'm sorry, you don't make the tournament. You are not taking a spot of somebody more deserving.
Yeah.
This is not for you.
Especially with teams like West Virginia out there. I thought that was fucked up too. And Indiana, I guess, but I think West Virginia
Yeah, I
was
think
more
that
deserving.
like West Virginia, Indiana, Boise State, there's a number of them. I think it's like cockamamie that the West Virginia governor is trying to launch an investigation. That was
You
so
gotta respect it,
stupid.
though.
Yeah, I mean, like you're placating to the base, I guess, but he
would
couldn't
do the
even
same
say
thing, Pete.
Yeah, I would have. He couldn't even say it with a straight face. It seemed like, but I mean, like North Carolina being in the tournament is so simple. Like we know why. Like we know why they're in the tournament.
The name on the front of their fucking jersey.
No, hold on. It
it's
wasn't just that. They had a man
AD.
on the inside.
Yeah.
Their athletic
Their AD.
director was the head of the committee. And guess what? That guy stood to gain $100,000 at minimum to get that team as a bonus for his contract to get North Carolina in the tournament.
And I can't remember his name, but he put on a master class. When he was addressing the media, they were asking about the bracket, and he was answering all these questions. And then as soon as they asked directly, do you think it was fair that North Carolina got, chosen to be in the tournament? And he immediately said, oh, well, you'll have to talk to the others here. I had to step out of the room.
Yeah,
for
every
that
time.
conversation.
Bullshit. Like every
it's
time
like-
ever that you talked about North Carolina.
Oh, you
Come
had
on.
no effect because you were on the other side of the wall.
Come on.
Ridiculous.
Like, it's hard for people to believe, like, non-biased opinions most of the time. But I will be the first one to say, if this was Duke, I wouldn't be like, they don't fucking deserve. If you're talking about a Kansas, a Kentucky, a Duke, a North Carolina, a Villanova, UConn, and they were in this position, if you put yourself in this position with that name in front of your jersey, you don't deserve to be in a tournament. I'll see you in the fucking NIT.
Yeah.
We do not play for a play-in to barely make it in the fucking tournament,
Yeah.
dude. No.
I mean, I suppose like the concession, they go, oh, well, we'll put San Diego State up against you because they've also been in the tournament. Oh, Bubba Cunningham. There he is, that fuck. So,
Look at his ears.
yeah, he's got big old ears.
He looks like he should work at Green Gots.
I think the hate for North Carolina is well-deserved,
Yeah.
but Xavier deserves the same. It's the two of them. They do not deserve to be in the play-in.
Yeah.
Xavier also was in the same situation, and they made it in. I hope Texas fucking murders them on Thursday or tomorrow.
I'm curious because obviously Texas is not a blue blood, but they have notoriety and recognition that is national. Do you feel that they are kind of in that category of like, hey, you had KD, you have a history of excellence, you're too big of a name? Because honestly, when you talk about expanding the college basketball playoff, I wouldn't be for it unless you expanded the number of teams that play. Like if you had Monday games, Tuesday games, Wednesday games, all leading up.
Right.
But all of the teams that were entered into those games were like non-Big Five.
Well, to answer your first question, I don't put Texas in the same category as everyone that I mentioned.
Okay.
Yes, they've had good teams. They've had DJ Augustine and TJ Ford and Kevin Durant and PJ Tucker, but they're not on the same level as a lot of these teams. Also, making it to the play-in outside of a big name or the name on your jersey, Texas, I feel like could make a case for being in the tournament without playing in.
Yeah.
Texas had to go through the gauntlet of SEC this year, made it to the SEC championship or semifinals. They could have easily made the tournament, and it's almost a consolation that they made the play-in. So they deserve to be there. And I feel like they're going to show it tomorrow. I feel like they're going to fucking obliterate Xavier. As far as expanding the tournament, could not be more anti doing that. I think that waters down the greatest sporting event that I know.
And I agree.
68 is max. You do not expand over more than 68.
Yeah, if you're bitching about being the 69th team in the nation, check yourself a little bit at this point.
You got bigger problems.
Right. There's a case to be made if you're in the college football playoff, if you're just right outside looking in, especially when it was just the 4-team playoff. But at this point, you're just going, oh, come on.
It would just be
69?
It would just be stupid because I feel like this would just be pandering to people that will complain no matter what. This might be the one sporting event, because in my opinion, this is the greatest sporting event we have. Better than Super Bowl, World Series, better than World Cup. The March Madness, the 4 weeks of March Madness to me is the greatest sporting event. And this might be the one sporting event that technically with a bracket or some sort of a format, this might be the one that's figured out.
Yeah.
And I don't think you fuck with something that's already figured out.
Yeah.
Especially with the lead-in. I don't think there's a lot of playoff type environments that have the type of lead-in that March Madness has. This is the first time in probably 10 years that I've had the opportunity to watch many of the conference championship tournaments. Being on paternity leave, having a baby at home, and having YouTube TV, I was tapped in.
Shout out YouTube TV sponsor us.
Shout out for sure.
Shit, what a great sponsor though.
And it's electric. It is absolutely electric. College basketball is so much better than any other basketball product that's out there.
Yeah,
right
because
now.
and especially when you get automatic bids from teams that win their tournaments and everything, gives the opportunity for a team that's hot to possibly get in, and that's kind of the type of team that you want to see for sure.
I was watching the Drake Bradley game.
Yeah, we talked.
And I was texting you guys and being like, "Holy shit!"
I am dialed in.
Drake?
Yes. Yeah.
Drake.
We'll talk about Drake.
That's a fucking Sweet 16 Elite 8 team.
You think so?
I got Drake going far, baby. You know what? Before I tell you about that, the thing I like to say about college basketball is we look at all of the major sporting groups that we have. We're into college football. We have the NFL. We have the NBA. And technically with the NIL, people are like, well, this is ruining college basketball. The transfer portal, no one's loyal, no one's sticking around. But the core of the fucking game has not changed. That's what I love about college basketball is there's NIL and transfers and money has not changed the fact that players are going to get back out there because there's no load management here.
Yeah.
Players are fucking trying their best because they're playing just out of pure passion and out of pure, like, wanting to fucking win.
Pride.
And like, even if they're going to be in school for a fucking year, like, I want to hang a banner here. And you have these guys that you might never, like, the Oakland fucking Jack last year. You never heard, like, this guy's probably fucking insurance agent today. You know, but he is a legend in March Madness. Beat Kentucky as a 3 seed and made a deep run for Oakland. These are like the type of stories that we get out of March Madness. That's why I don't think anything beats it. You can't ruin the true core of the fucking game.
Yeah, NC State last year, and that big boy
DJ Burns.
DJ, yeah.
You can't fuck the game up. You can't fuck because everyone's like, well, why should Cooper Flag play in the first round? Duke's gonna beat a 16 seed. He's like, well, I'm fucking playing because you know what? 2 16 seeds have won in the last 5 years.
Yeah, never happened before.
I'm not risking it.
Now. Yeah.
I'm not risking it. I love that mentality. I love that mindset with just college players, no matter if they play for a blue blood or fucking Drake. Because the dude from Drake, he is being compared to that guy from Oakland. This dude from Drake was unranked, not recruited, not looked at, not scouted at all out of high school, out of Missouri. And he played at a JC, and he did well enough that people started looking at him. And then Drake started looking at him, and then they changed coaches. But then the other coach, very opposite of Rudy, he was like, I heard about this kid. And this guy is this year's Jimmer Fredette. You watch this Bennett, whatever his fucking name is. He is this year's Jimmer Fredette. They're going to win at least 2 games.
For Drake.
Yeah.
And honestly,
Drake's very dangerous.
Agreed. And people who say that the NIL is bad for basketball is just wrong. Because college basketball has had one of the bigger fields as far as consistent champions. Like, there was always 15 teams that could win NCAA championship.
Yeah.
And now it's expanded to probably 30. You know, there's, especially this year, there doesn't seem to be like a true top dog. There's a lot of teams I feel like could take it.
And the opinion of NIL being bad for college basketball specifically is just a hypocritical take.
Yeah.
Because these are the same people complaining about one and dones.
Yeah.
But what's NIL done? NIL's kept players in college.
Sure.
Now we're seeing really good sophomores and juniors and seniors playing through.
I saw Dan Hurley talking about this, and I know that UConn hasn't had a great year. I mean, by their standards, he went back to back at this point. You know, he's talking about like, it's tough because half of my team is already like in the portal, even though they're not technically in the portal. He's just kind of like putting his team on blast a little bit. But then again, if you just go, okay, like this is how you can like leverage your players or motivate your players is to be like, all right, go get more NIL money, even if it's not with us in the long term. You could get it, you know, win these games now, and then potentially in the future you can get more money.
First of all, if we're going to listen to anyone, it won't be Dan. I love the Hurleys. I love the Hurley family. Dan definitely bottom of that list. It goes Dad and Bobby first.
Yeah, Dad Hurley. Yeah.
Dan Hurley making
Dad
this
Hurley,
comment about
Dan
NIL.
Hurley.
This is such a fucking cover-up because what he's been exposed to this season is he inherited.
That he's not a very good coach.
He's a great coach.
A very good recruiter.
He's a great coach. Dan Hurley is a great coach in his own way. If you respond to that type of coaching, you will win national championships. That's fucking guaranteed. He inherited Jim Calhoun's recruiting class for 2 years. And then what happened was all those guys went to Europe or made it to the league. But Dan Hurley is a goddamn shit recruiter. He doesn't recruit. He is sitting there going, like, expecting the phone to ring. Come to me. Play for UConn. Play for the Blue Blood. Play for national championships. So he's not a good recruiter. He's a great coach, but he was exposed this season because he had leftovers, and these guys could not compete.
Yeah. When we look up and down on the brackets, there's something that I like. Let's break things down. Obviously, like you have the whole deal about the Ken Palm ratings and like if everyone's heard like, oh, if you have top 57 offense, top 37 defense, every champion is within that range, right? I guess like all except one were in the top 21 of offense, but it's nor here nor there. Let's see. No team has ever won after losing their first conference tournament game. There's all of these like tiny little stats that kind of gets you to, I think, about 8 teams, and I think that like the world is trying to anoint Alabama, Auburn, Duke, Florida, Gonzaga, Houston, Iowa State, and Tennessee.
Gonzaga's laughable.
As all of the things, right? But I mean, like, I'm not saying Gonzaga. I'm saying that
those are the
situational statistics are saying that like
these
are your teams that would more than likely, based off of all of the historical data, would win this year.
And the crazy thing, too, is like, if you are a type of bracket filler that picks chalk, yeah, you'll get clowned on every time.
You'll love that, yeah.
But if there's one season where everyone you mentioned have the best chance of winning, it's probably this.
Yeah.
Because I really don't see anyone outside of the 4 1s and the 4 2s winning the national championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in
So
one
does
of my
that make it more chalky then?
It's a little bit because I filled out 9 brackets so far, and I'll tell you, some of them were 1-2-1-2. Some of them were 1-2-1-5. And it's hard for me to discredit the fact that every national championship winner have great guard play. And one of the best guard plays this season is Florida. Florida has 3 guards that I don't know how anyone's going to fucking stop them.
Yeah.
Houston is like this year's Virginia from 2019.
Yeah, they
Which
won't
is
wow you
weird.
offensively.
Houston will be a defensive monster.
Yeah.
But if you score more than 70, you'll probably beat
You'll win
them.
that.
You'll
Yeah.
probably beat them.
So you're thinking that there's probably going to be parity amongst all of like all the matchups that aren't 1-2 matchups or anything. So maybe like everything condenses down to 1-2, but like there's a bunch of shit that's going to happen.
Yeah,
amongst all
I
those
think
other
there's going to
games.
be a lot of parity
Yeah.
in the first 2 to 3 rounds.
Yeah.
I think it's
Before
going
it
to be
settles in.
electric.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to brass tacks, because I'm right there with Miguel. In my 2 brackets right now, I have one bracket, literally all 2s going to the Final Four, and then the other, it's 1-1-2-4.
But you're absolutely correct. I feel like, before, a few years ago, we're always looking at, 5-12s.
Yeah.
That's a gimme. What a great value for your money. But this year, I have a fuck ton of 14s and 13s moving on.
Yeah.
I feel like University of San Diego is a legitimate contender.
that's a
Diego
12, though.
is-
That's a 12. I
Yeah,
feel like
Yale.
Yale at 14 is a
Yeah.
legitimate contender. I feel like McNeese State against Clemson,
Sure.
that's a 12. I feel
VCU.
like Akron at 14, VCU at 11, Vanderbilt at 10. I have all those guys moving on.
Yeah.
You just named all of them.
all of those.
Utah State beating UCLA as a 7-10. I feel like that's legit.
Let me help you validate some stuff because I saw someone, I think it was either TikTok or Instagram, and I screenshotted this because I thought it was so interesting, especially when it comes to the first round trends. This person talks about the value being in the 11 seed. The 11 seed is 29 and 27 since 2011, with 91% of those being the underdog. And then let's see. The first 4, we were talking about the first 4 a little bit, are primed for more. Only 1 year that a team has been in the first 4 has not advanced to the round of 32. So every year except for one of those 4 teams has advanced to the round of 32.
And I'm sure it's the 11 90% of the time.
10 seeds, probably. 10 seeds are really struggling lately. Over the last 10 years, they're 14 and 26 straight up. 10 seeds are getting murdered. And then 8 versus 9 matchups, they say take the underdog. Underdogs are 57 and 33 against the spread over the last 34 years. So
8-9. Yeah, Arkansas is beating Kansas. I'm telling you that, right?
That's
Kansas
gonna
has
be-
been trash this year.
That's going to be a great game.
Oklahoma's beating UConn, another 9-8. No, just kidding. Oklahoma's beating Louisville.
no, I think Oklahoma's got UConn.
Is it
Oklahoma's
UConn?
UConn, yeah.
Okay. Creighton beating Louisville
Yeah.
at another 9-8.
That's where I've got it.
But
too.
also in the previous years, we kind of had this like hope or excitement about 12-5 where you're like, man.
Yeah. Oh, the 12-5.
But the 12-5 is like, it's usually Dayton. Dayton's always a 12. Dayton will beat the 5 seed. But you had that hope, like, with fingers crossed. I think this season, it could not be more of a 50-50 with 12-5s.
Yeah.
Because Colorado State is a really good team playing Memphis.
They're favored.
See, fucking crazy.
Yeah.
McNeese State, Clemson, Liberty against Oregon. Liberty lost 6 games this year.
Liberty's good.
Yeah.
Liberty's really fucking good. Oregon has one guy.
That's not true.
No, what I mean is like the star. Like Oregon's a good team, but this guy who they're anointing as like better than Peyton Pritchard, he's really fucking good.
Shellstad, yeah.
But you're looking at anyone who advances far in the NCAA tournament, you have to have that one game changer, and Oregon has that guy. But Liberty is also a very suffocating defensive team.
Yeah, it's going to come down to shot making at the end of the day. If Oregon can hit shots and run the offense that they want to, then they'll win the game.
Yeah, and depending on how Biddle does down low,
Exactly.
then you're going to be
But if they're not making shots and the Liberty's defense steps up, then we're going to get fucked.
The only one that I kind of question is I feel like Michigan got fucked as a 5 seed. I feel like they should be higher.
right. Michigan faces UC San Diego. Michigan has actually played
One of the best 12 seeds in the tournament.
You're
my
talking about
opinion.
UC San Diego. Yeah. And
Probably
there's a lot of people who are choosing it. The one thing that gives me pause about Michigan there is that, they played Wisconsin close or vice versa. But I saw, like, Michigan has played, like, 12 games under 5 points this year. And they were 12-3. I guess now 13-3 after this. Like, they're a team, while I am also on the UC San Diego bandwagon, are a team that has like managed to win under that pressure cooker situation.
I don't think Michigan. I think Michigan should have been a 4 or a 3, and I think it's kind of unfair to the best 12 seed to have to face Michigan as a 12-5.
And also to that point, I think that Michigan, because they are playing the top 12 seed, people are kind of writing them off, but I think that they're a team that could go far quietly.
Right.
Not a lot of people are going to be on that bandwagon.
Right, because everyone's like, ooh, UC San Diego, because of what Miguel was talking about a little bit earlier.
I mean, I
Michigan
picked
could
UCSD.
fuck around and be in the
Yeah,
elite 8.
Yeah.
With all that being said, I did pick San Diego
Yeah.
for that game.
We all did.
I feel like, though, when you're thinking about some of the teams that you expect to be there, the one team that's not making that much noise, even though you know who they are, they're not making that much noise compared to the Auburns and the Alabamas and the Dukes and the Floridas of this season, is Izzo's Michigan State.
Yeah.
That team is always scary
This
in
guy's
March.
high on him.
What did I say?
This guy is high on
What
Michigan
did I
State.
say?
I don't know exactly, but you said that at
First of
minimum
all,
these guys were your
Izzo's
favorite.
March record
Yeah.
is
It's absurd.
unheard of.
Yeah.
Izzo only loses to one team in March, and it's Coach K.
Yep, it's Coach K.
And it's always like, if you look at the last, 15 years, from all the Duke teams and all the Michigan State teams, and that includes like Draymond Green and Zach Randolph and, fucking Singler and all of them. Michigan State always blow out teams, and then they run into Duke and lose by 20, just fucking out of nowhere.
Right, yeah.
And in 2015, Michigan State went on a deep run and faced that 2015 champion Duke, lost by 20 in the Final Four after Duke beat Gonzaga with Sabonis, which is also one of the best Gonzaga teams outside of Dan Dickau. But then you look at outside, you take Duke out of it, Izzo's record in March is fucking scary.
Can I tell you guys a little story?
About how you love.
You had dinner with Tom Izzo?
Last night. No, I'm just kidding. So last week before championship tournament week started, I listened to an interview on a podcast with Tom Izzo. And on that podcast, they joked with him and said, hey, everybody loves to win the conference tournament, but wouldn't it be nice to like lose in the semifinals, have those extra days to rest and get ready for March Madness? And Izzo laughed and they laughed. And he was like, no, we always want to win, blah, blah, blah. So I took that away. We get into the tournament, and exactly that scenario happens. And I don't know if you guys were watching that game, but when they had a shot on Tom Izzo shaking hands with the Wisconsin coach, and he couldn't have been happier. The smile on Izzo's face, it wasn't just like, hey, I'm being respectful and shaking the hand. Like, to create that chip on the shoulder, to go into the tournament, extra rest. Spoiler alert, I may or may not have Michigan State winning one of my brackets.
All right. And so that's the thing, too, is that, like, they lost almost out of their own control. It was kind of a fluky loss that they had.
Yes.
There was, like, right at the end against Wisconsin where maybe a foul should have been called, blah, blah. So it's not as if, like, you were, like, dismantled the way that it seems like Auburn has been in its last 3 or 4 games.
But the thing that's scariest about Michigan State this year is normally every year in March Madness, the coaching of Izzo can carry you. No matter who's there.
Yeah, I mean, like, there are a few teams where you can say, I am going to ride you based off of your coach and not your players.
Because,
definitely
you have to make decisions in March Madness where it's 68-68 with 11 seconds left. You have to be able to time manage. You have to be able to call a play, run a set, and all that. So you can ride Izzo far. But the scary thing this year is Michigan State maybe have 1 or 2 freshmen. This is an experienced upperclassman team that fucking rebounds the ball better than a lot of teams in the country. It is almost, I wouldn't say almost, it is a better team than the Cassius Winston team that beat Duke in 2019 with Zion. And that team made the Final Four. So I would not be shocked if Izzo makes it to the Final Four and beat Florida or St. John's to go to the finals.
To pay off what we were saying about his record, Tom Izzo is 82-36 in March since 1998-99.
Not bad.
But
there's no other coach that has that much of a discrepancy with wins and losses in March.
But you know, it's wild. 1 championship only. It feels like he has so many more.
Yeah, but I feel like that helps the point of, well, you're a blue blood. You recruit all these 5 stars out of Montverde Academy and Mater D or whatever, Mater Day.
What's a Mater baby?
Mater D.
That's how hard it is to win the national championship, because you have to go through the gauntlet of March Madness. Yeah. So when people clown on teams, it's like, well, you get all these 5-star recruits. How come you have 1 championship in 10 years? Do you know how hard it is to win the fucking March Madness, dude?
When it comes to March Madness, how many Final Fours have you made? And Michigan State has made a shit ton of Final Fours.
Yeah, Final Fours, Elite Eights. Like, to even make it through 2 rounds, if you make it to the next weekend or you make it to Saturday, you're a good team. Yeah. You're a really good fucking team. If you can consistently do that, you are on the upper, top 1% of fucking teams. If you can consistently make it to Saturday. If you're a regular Sweet 16 team and you're not a, fucking VCU, with Shaka Smart or Wichita State or any of that, you're a really good fucking team. And they're definitely one of them.
Okay, so we've been talking about teams that we have liked at this point. And we'll after this we'll talk about upsets, because it seems like there's going to be a lot of parity that's all going to then kind of squeeze itself down into the 1s and 2s. But obviously, I actually thought that Auburn found their way out of being a number 1 seed after all of the losses that they've had recently. After Bruce Pearl goes on during, I think, what was it, the quarters or semifinals after, when it says, our guards aren't pussies, and then they lose the next game.
Let me ask you about that, and you can, no matter what your take on this is, I will accept. I don't give a shit about being number 1 overall seed for the team that I cheer for. But are you telling me that Duke doesn't deserve the number 1 overall seed over Auburn?
So Auburn got the number 1 overall.
Auburn got number 1 overall seed,
horseshit.
Losing 4 of their last 5 games, including
horseshit.
the SEC championship. Yeah. Duke beat Auburn.
No, they didn't even go to the SEC championship.
They didn't go to the SEC championship. Duke beat Auburn. Duke won the ACC championship without Cooper Flag. You're telling me, with a better record, by the way, 3 losses instead of 5.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
I want to fade. I want nothing to do with Auburn. If they end up winning, good for them. I absolutely want nothing to do. I could see them losing in the round of 32.
The only thing I like about Auburn is watching Bruce Pearl sweat through his shirt. That's it.
He might sweat more than Sean Miller.
Yeah, like this is a team like you said, 4 of 5 games that they've lost. Like, in what world do you want to see? You know, if you're thinking about like the South bracket and like, you know, where you've got like UC San Diego or you've got Yale possibly beating Texas A&M or any of these types of things, like absolutely. And then Michigan State coming out of that too. So
Auburn does have the toughest bracket out of the whole thing. Oh shit.
You're good.
But by no means do I not fear them. They have probably the National Player of the Year. And they're still really good. They have good guard play. They're scary. But they also lost to A&M. A&M could face them again in the tournament. They lost to A&M in the regular season. If they don't face A&M, they could face a Creighton or a Louisville team that went far in the ACC tournament.
Louisville also an underranked team.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree with that. Auburn has a lot more obstacles than a lot of other number 1 seeds.
Yeah.
So part of me is almost thankful that Duke didn't get the number 1 overall, because they have to go through a gauntlet compared to the other number 1s.
Duke does as well. I mean, they've
got Oregon that they got to play.
Arizona.
They did beat
Wisconsin.
Arizona. BYU is
BYU.
like you can't.
VCU if either team that comes
Alabama.
out. Yes.
So I feel like if all goes to plan, it should be. I mean, saying this is absolutely fucking stupid in March Madness. Duke, Alabama should face each other. But to get there, all those teams you mentioned, like Oregon could come out of that. Liberty could come out of that.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Miguel.
Because Duke and Oregon could face each other.
They could, yeah.
And Duke would spank Shellstad up his fucking asshole.
Like it was his birthday,
dude.
Huh?
He
Yeah.
would get 12 spanks because it's March 12th. Okay?
We'll put him in a diaper dandy.
How about this? Because we talked about this either it was last week or the week before.
It's a no.
It's a no.
Yeah.
There's no scenario.
I told you he'd puss out.
Dude, you can call it what you want. The only wagers I have in March Madness, especially when Duke is in, are my brackets.
Yeah.
I cannot.
He doesn't bet.
I will not, out of superstition,
Yeah.
bet on a Duke game in
So
March Madness.
He's consistent.
I want to ask you, Miguel, if you were to come to me with an Oregon bet and I said what you just said, what would be your response?
In the March Madness, I would totally understand.
But in football, what if you didn't want to bet in football?
Yeah,
That's not the same structure as March Madness.
But I mean, like,
I'm saying
the
a bet.
superstition could
I'm
be
not
there.
asking about scenario. I'm saying a bet.
Just for a game, I would respect your decision.
I'm sure you would.
I mean, the thing is, you can call me a pussy for my decision.
I didn't
I can
say
call
that.
you a pussy for your decision, but because out of superstition for a team I care about in the biggest tournament that they have to play in, if you approach that the same with your team in college football, I'd respect it.
In the
Seriously?
I can't force you to bet me
Okay.
with that.
Because I know what you would say. You would call me a pussy and a
Yeah,
bitch.
I would do that absolutely.
From here on out.
But that's out of respect.
I would like
Respectfully.
I would like to declare I will no longer bet on Oregon football with you.
But that's fine. But you're not getting it from this. You're getting it because I win most of the Oregon bets against you. That's probably where
Two
you're
things can be
measuring
right at
it
the same
from.
time.
That's fine. That's fine. But I also know you're a fucking degen, so you'll probably take at least one.
Shut the fuck up.
You and I have known each other for at least 12, 13 years at this point, right? Longer than that. Oh,
You're
15,
very insulting. Like, try 18.
16, 17. Yeah, when did I was thinking 2011, but it was
2007.
2007. Yeah.
It's been 15 years since
I-
Pete cared.
I've known you.
I always forget when
I've known you since you've had an inner tube around your waist, broken fucking teeth, and a fucking bowl cut.
That's true.
That's how long I've known you.
That is how long.
You had gap in your teeth held by metal.
Yep. Wow.
And you stole money from 17-year-olds. And you had a fucking haircut. I don't know who cut it, but they didn't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
That's how long I've known you.
Yeah. I've never had a Duke bet with him. Ever.
Yeah, and you also
How
learned
about
he
Miguel?
also learned his lesson in 2012 when Duke lost to Mercer and Peter thought, I know him well enough. I can be comfortable. Friday at
I was in Charlotte, North Carolina for an NBA game.
Friday
Yeah,
at
all right.
10:30 in the morning. I'm in bed watching the Duke team lose to Mercer.
CJ McCollum. Oh no, that's
That's Lehigh the
Yeah.
year before. Lose to Mercer at a fucking 3-14 game with Jabari Parker.
Yeah.
Peter thought we were good enough friends at that point
No.
to go, fuck you, you fucked my bracket, fuck Duke, fuck everything Duke stands for in an all caps text. If you understood
Did
the
do that.
rage that I had inside me, that Duke lost to Mercer and that dude was dancing and doing the nene post game and then receiving that text from Peter,
Right after the game. No time.
you know, like you've seen me respond aggressively to things. Real anger means I have no bandwidth to even say anything.
Yeah.
I turned my phone off and I went to bed. I went back to bed.
Yeah.
I had to sleep for another 6 or 7 hours before I could even talk to people, especially his fucking dumbass for sending that. I don't think I talked to him for days.
It was weeks. It was weeks, literally. I think it was about 3 weeks before I go, yo, we good?
Yeah.
I haven't heard from you in a while. Is that a coincidence?
Well, if
So,
Duke loses to Oregon,
yeah.
you're not going to be that soft, right?
I might skip a couple recordings.
Yeah.
I might skip a couple recordings.
He might. He just might.
Oh,
You can also bank on the fact that I have experienced like pain from 22. That was real pain. Losing to Carolina, Coach K's last year. I don't think anything can. I don't think
that-
losing.
You
it to-
handled that well, by the way.
I don't think losing to.
did.
Nah, you didn't see me in all of it. But losing to a 16 seed,
Right, we
I don't
watched
think
the
we'll
game
top
together.
that.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll top that.
Do you guys? I don't know if you have access to this, but do you guys want to just go through a couple of your brackets and just be like, what two do I have coming out of each region?
I know who they are.
Okay. Is that bad podcast?
Peter's only filled out 30. He has
I'm
a
only
max
through
of
my
32
round of
points.
32 here.
Yeah,
So.
I saw it. I checked it earlier.
Okay, so our South bracket, Auburn, Alabama State. Auburn.
South. Auburn and Alabama State.
Those are your.
No, he's talking about who comes out in the Final
Who
Four.
comes out?
Yeah, we're not going to go
Who
through
are-
each
Oh,
game.
Final Four. Got it.
Elite Eight. What are the two coming out? And who wins? I have Auburn, Michigan State. Michigan State's coming out.
I have Florida, Michigan State. Florida comes out of it.
Florida's in the other part. Wrong.
You're going to
No.
the Final Four. Oh, he's in the Final Four. He's
Okay,
thinking Final
so if it's
Four.
Elite Eight, I have Florida in either Ole Miss or
St. John's.
no. Florida's in the St. John's bracket. I have Florida either Ole Miss or A&M.
Okay.
And Florida's coming out of that no matter what for me. Because Florida's my other champion. If
Yeah.
it's not Duke. Florida's my other champion.
Because Florida, I mean, I think you were saying it earlier. You're just like talking about like all of their weapons that they have. Like you can have a guy who does nothing one game, does a 30 the next, but that doesn't mean that like he had a bad game. It's just that like the other guy went off.
Well, Florida also has 3 guards that is impossible to stop.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, like, St. John's is a really good team, but St. John's doesn't have the schedule that Florida has. So I have Florida coming out of that bracket. The brackets that I've filled out either has Duke winning or Florida winning. I feel like
Okay.
Florida will win the national championship if it's not Duke.
So in one of my brackets, my Final Four is Michigan State, Florida, Duke, Houston, and Houston wins.
So it's a 1-1-1-2.
Yep.
with a Houston winning.
And the other one
Who are you, Mattress Mac?
Yep. And that bracket is named 1,000,000%. And my other bracket
That's you.
is Braxy Baby 69.
Oh, perfect, yeah.
And my final four there, it's Michigan State, St. John's, Tennessee, and Alabama, all number 2s. And Tennessee plays Michigan State in the final. Michigan State wins.
And we've talked about this. Like, I have really liked what I've seen out of Tennessee. Like, they lose the SEC championship game. But, like, we are a fuck Tennessee podcast, but, like, it feels like they've
Only in football. Only in
skirted
football.
under the radar this year.
Only in football.
It always seems that, like, Rick Burns, their head coach, right?
Rick Barnes.
Barnes, thank you. Always seems to kind of, like, underperform. But, like, this, I don't know. This Tennessee team feels a touch different
I don't
to
think
me.
they underperform. I think just the volunteer fan base, they have extremely high expectations for Tennessee, and they just don't meet that. I don't think they underperform. But I think the one team out of that is out of West bracket. That's the West bracket that Tennessee is in.
They are in the Midwest. Yeah.
The one, like almost everyone that I've seen fill out a bracket either have Tennessee or Houston coming out of that bracket.
You have High Point.
I do have High Point winning the first game. I have High Point winning the first game.
Beating
not
Purdue.
coming out.
Yeah.
No, the one team that people are overlooking in that bracket is Clemson. In one of my Final
That's
Fours,
facts.
I have Clemson in the Final Four. That's my 5. Clemson is a really deep, experienced team.
Yeah.
Fuck what happened with the ACC, but Clemson also fucking tanked Duke in that game. Yes, it's at home, but Clemson is a really good team.
Yeah.
I have Clemson beating Houston.
Really?
I have Clemson beating Houston because Houston cannot score.
Right, that's the problem with Houston. If you can't shut them down.
Clemson averages 75 points a game. Clemson could score more than 63, which I think is Houston's average of points.
So you think
given.
Clemson's offense is better than Houston's defense?
Absolutely. And I don't think Houston's offense is something they could rely on. They could stop teams, but this is no different than any Tony Bennett Virginia team that I've seen. Also, Houston probably would have had a better chance at a run last year with Jamal Shed. And that's the guy who got hurt against Duke.
That's right.
Because Duke wouldn't have won that game. I don't think Duke would have won that game had he been healthy throughout the whole game. But they don't have a Jamal Shed. They just have a collectively good defensive team. I don't see them beating Tennessee. I don't see them beating Clemson. I don't see Tennessee beating Clemson if they face each other.
Well, if they beat Houston, then they would,
Yeah.
hypothetically.
But I have Clemson coming out of there. I do, but again, I have a fuck ton of brackets. I do have Tennessee coming out of 1, making it to the Final Four.
I'm really happy that I have 2 brackets, and then I have the Jimmy's League, which is
Kind of random, right?
yeah, it's random, and you get 4 teams against the spread.
Yeah.
So if you have a plus 22 and they lose by 20, you adopt the team that won and move on to the
Right, I
second
won
round.
some money last year with
Yeah.
Purdue, which
Yep.
was great.
And also, I know that you still go to Jimmy's at least once a week. If they ask about, because I'm starting to feel bad. If they ask about me, blame it on Peter.
Yeah.
The only reason I don't go to Jimmy's is because they don't allow kids.
They don't allow
And
kids,
that's
yeah.
why Peter doesn't go.
Yeah.
So you can put it on him.
Well, I will
We
be
go
honest.
if they allow kids.
The only person that Tim asks about every single week
It's
I'm there
not me.
is you.
Yeah.
And tell him
never
it's
me.
because they don't allow kids. Peter wouldn't go with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not going to go alone.
I don't say that because that's a lie, and I would never lie
That's
to
true.
Tim.
That's absolutely true.
You can go without him.
Yes, I
Yeah,
can,
well.
but it's easier if Peter's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, I'll meet you at Jimmy's." But no,
well,
because
you
they don't allow
can't
kids.
depend on that.
You know what? I'm a very dependent person.
I've realized.
He needs a buddy. Yeah. You need a
You think
counter
I'm gonna
drink
drink by
buddy.
myself? Like,
yeah.
Take
fucking.
your, hey, you know that woman you live with? Take her.
There's a better chance that Peter will go to Jimmy's over.
Okay, so let's look at the underdogs of every bracket, and I want to
High Point.
get your
I
guys up.
love High Point.
In the East, I don't necessarily want to talk about the 116s or the 215s. If you guys find a compelling reason, we can. You have the 8-9, Baylor the 9, Liberty the 12. So I'm talking about the East bracket. Akron the 13 against Arizona.
Stop there.
Okay.
Akron beats Arizona.
You think so? Why?
How many times has Arizona let you down in the first round
All
of
the
March
time.
Madness in
Yeah.
the last 10 years?
As a 2 seed, as a 1 seed.
Arizona
as
is a bracket buster
Yeah.
every fucking year. Akron will beat Arizona. Who are you relying on? Caleb Love, the former Tar Heel? Yeah, no. They will beat Arizona. Akron will beat Arizona. Also, Baylor, absolute movie fucking, it's a storyline. One of Baylor's best players, outside of the freshmen, is a Duke transfer. They could face Duke in the second round.
No, they would.
Yeah, they would. If
Oh,
they
yeah,
beat them, they'd
you're
face
right,
Duke.
You're right. I was on the wrong side of it. VCU beats BYU. That seems to be a not consensus, but that's one of those
Yeah, a lot of people
11-6s that people
I
are
picked
looking at.
BYU on that one.
Why?
I have it.
Have you seen
BYU?
BYU? Have you seen BYU play?
Well, I have. I'm just saying that, why
very
are people saying VCU is the 11 that is going to overtake? I understand that they can score
VCU
threes
this
and
season has been way more consistent in their play.
They're not the best
comparatively.
11 seed. Name the other 11 seeds.
They're not the best 11 seed by any means.
But I think
But
BYU is
BYU is very streaky.
But I think BYU is outside of Ole Miss is the best 6 seed.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. Outside of Ole Miss, they're the best 6 seed.
Your others are Drake. Then you have
Drake is the best 11 seed.
Then you have Texas Xavier, and then you also have your play-ins here: SDSU, UNC.
I love Drake. I have Drake in the Elite Eight in one of my brackets, so heavy on Drake.
But again, we were talking about the value in the 11 seeds. I brought that up here just to revisit that stat. 11 seeds are 29 and 27 since 2011.
That history, yeah. I think the best value right now are 13s.
13s.
This season is
13s are
13s.
Akron against Arizona. Your other 13 is
Yale.
High
Yale's
Point
14.
versus Purdue.
Yep.
You have your other Grand Canyon versus Maryland, and then you have a 13 as the Yale and Texas A&M.
So-
A&M, by the way, had recently lost 4 or 5 straight. They
Yes.
beat Auburn.
only-
that felt big, but
The only 4 seed I have winning out of those 4 games is Maryland.
yeah.
I have 13 out of all of them. All of them.
Yeah,
If you think Purdue's
Crab 5.
if you think Purdue's going to beat High Point, you're fucking insane. Purdue sucks. Purdue fucking sucks this year.
They're not Zach Edey the way that they have.
I don't know
been.
how they have the 4 seed.
Yeah.
They should be like a 6 or a 7. They are High Point's going to give them a run for their fucking money.
So, who's willing to make a trip up to A&A?
Amongst us?
I won't have time.
Yeah, I don't have time. I'm going to
I'm
see.
leaving.
I'm also leaving. I'm going to Bend this weekend to drop my kid off. Then we've got spring break. We're going to
Where are
San
you
Diego.
going, Miguel?
He's got
Seaside,
that.
by
He's
second
Oh,
Madison.
the
yeah.
seaside thing. Yeah.
All right,
Got
I'll
that.
call Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan do it. He's right up there.
Jordan will be gone.
Where?
Where's he going?
He's going to a bunch of different wine spots to be an elitist.
Oh, shit.
not sure. Just assuming.
Is this a Pinot Noir?
A Noir.
I don't think you guys use the right grapes for this.
Noir. There is a band that I've been listening to recently. Oh, their name is escaping me at the moment. But they're Australian. So they
The
said, I don't
Blink 180 Tour.
Don't nor what I don't nor.
What a reach.
So
I reach, bro.
okay, so let's look at the 12 seeds. Liberty is 12,
Winning.
UC San Diego
Winning.
is a 12 against Michigan.
Winning.
You're 12. Colorado State, Memphis.
Colorado State's beating
I do
Memphis.
have-
Colorado
Colorado
State
State.
has, but isn't one of their main guys out? Or is it that on the flip side?
I don't
I
think it
feel
matters.
like
Listen,
okay.
I love
Colorado
Penny.
State's won 10 straight games.
I love
So,
Penny Hardaway. They're
Yeah.
not beating Colorado State. They're not beating Colorado.
That was a tough game for them right there before selection.
McNeese
Sunday.
State, technically, is a great 5-12. I don't think they're beating Clemson. That is the 1-12 seed that I don't think will win.
McNeese. Yeah.
You said earlier you did.
In a couple brackets, 2 out of the 9, I have McNeese State. Just a hedge. Just a hedge.
We've talked about the 10 seeds having a little rough go, so like not necessarily on upset watch. You've got
Vanderbilt will win.
Okay, well, I'll get there here. UCLA, Utah State are your 7-10s.
Utah State.
Then you have St. Mary's, Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt will win that.
What's going on with St. Mary's?
They go through the same conference as Gonzaga.
Every year, yeah.
That's enough said.
Enough. New Mexico, Marquette. I think Marquette wins that
Marquette's
game.
better.
They've got the shock of smart effect.
Yeah,
so.
Marquette's better, but I don't know. It's March.
It's March, baby. And then Kansas, Arkansas. You think Arkansas wins that game?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That game I'm so excited for.
Yeah, me too. Bill
Self
Self versus Calipari for sure.
And then the winner plays most likely
Rick Pitino.
Rick Pitino.
Yeah, St. John's there.
Kansas has been unranked for the entire month of February and March. Kansas is relying on Hunter Dickinson. He's been in college for 47 years because he's not good enough to make it to the end. Michigan.
Okay, that's why I reckon.
He's not good enough to make it to the league. He is a Armando Bacot Part 2. They have not been good this year.
Yeah.
They don't have an NBA prospect because that's what you look at with Kansas. Like Kansas is almost automatic making it to the Final Four or winning a national championship even quietly, right? They have one guy that's made it to the league, and that was in 22. They don't have an NBA prospect. They don't have that game changer. They have been out of the top 25 for a month and a half. You think they're going to beat Arkansas, who's played an SEC schedule?
No.
Yeah, they lost to Mark Pope at Kentucky, at Rupp Arena, but Arkansas has a really good team. They're beating Kansas.
Well, and honestly, I think everybody should want to see that Calipari
Patino
matchup because they are both coaches who have won national championships with 3 different schools.
They both won with Kentucky, which is probably the biggest.
Exactly. And so and Patino in interviews has said that the only thing that he really wants out of his career is to not be mentioned in the same sentence as Calipari.
Yeah.
So it's bad blood there. With Patino going out of college basketball for a while, for Calipari having the type of publicity that he does, and to have them match up, that would be a fun game.
They'll make it happen.
Yeah.
That bad blood comes from criminals hate other criminals.
Exactly.
That's what it is. They're both pieces of shit. They have both done like illegal shit with their programs. They don't like each other for that exact reason.
Yeah.
I want St. John's to go further in the tournament, but like their offensive rating is just kind of up in the 60s. That makes me feel like, oh well, if Kim Palm says anything,
they certainly could though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, another thing you can judge teams on is no matter what their schedule looks like, because, like, strength of schedule matters in college football, and it does in college basketball. You play a deeper schedule in college basketball, but when you have 30 games that you play in the regular season leading into the conference tournament and into March Madness, no matter who the opponents are, I always look at a team's record. And if you are in the 8 or 9 loss column, it does change the way that I think about you as a team. But when you are in like a 3-4 loss column, like St. John's has lost 4 games this season.
Yeah.
You have found a way to win easy games, average games, and hard games.
Yeah.
That record at the end before March Madness starts, I think that is a big tell. When you are 32-4, when you are 30-5, you have a better chance of going further because a lot of these games come down to the wire. That tells me that your coaching staff can handle time management. Your coaching staff can run sets. You win in crunch time. You have inbound plays from half court, from under the basket, from Hill to Leitner cross court. You have those things fucking nailed down if you have 3 or 4 losses. And you could be a blue blood team with 11. I don't think you're going far.
If you're double-digit losses, can't trust you.
AKA these fucking fuck heels have 12 losses or 11 losses, and they're gonna make the fucking tournament.
They will. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going far.
Oh, all right. Let's wrap this up. I think we've drained college basketball.
Oh yeah.
No, we haven't.
Lipscomb.
Come lips. I shouldn't speak though, Pete. What do you got for us?
That's it. I mean, tonight was the March Madness.
It's March, baby.
It's March, baby. So, have you seen the? I sent him the video for the Masters tournament. Oh, if you haven't watched it, go and watch it. It'll give you goosebumps and a boner. All
Like
at the
a
same time.
trailer, like a
Yeah.
So good.
I did bet on golf players championship this last
Did
weekend.
you bet on JJ?
How did it go?
No, dude. I'll tell you
Dumping
what.
it in the playoff?
I've had this
Oh my
strategy
gosh.
with golf that really only Scotty Scheffler has ever paid off for me. But
Yeah.
I've been using this strategy in golf where I will do a 3-pick parlay of a top 5 finisher, top 10, and top 20. But I place that bet at the end of day 2, like Friday night. So I always look at, who's on the brink, who's like 23rd, but shot a -6 on Friday. Maybe they'll continue that streak.
So you took Justin
You just
Thomas.
Justin Thomas.
I
who
didn't.
got a course record, and then he just
No, I took
tanked the next other
Batia
days.
to
Yeah.
finish top 5.
Yeah.
I hit that.
Yeah.
I took fucking Tommy Fleetwood to finish top 10.
Oh.
And he finished at 16. And I took Harris English to finish top 20. And he finished just right outside of it.
Yeah.
It was close, but the strategy usually works unless you pick a winner. Because picking a winner is way harder. Because, like, in the one that I placed a bet before, Morikawa was winning. And in the last 2 holes, Henley
Yeah.
overtook him. And I'm like, God fucking damn it. I had thought Morikawa was shooting really well. And Henley had the hole 17 and hole 18 putts that just put him ahead. I'm like, fuck. But talking about trailers, Happy Gilmore 2 trailer I watched this morning.
That was really
I've
good.
not seen it.
It's
Dude,
great. It's
come
great.
on.
Yeah.
John Daly's in it.
Oh, I bet he is.
Yeah.
So many people are in
There
it.
are.
It's
yeah.
still Victoria Bennett, or Victoria Vennett, I think it starts with a V.
Yeah.
It's still Julie Bowen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is awesome.
So hot.
But I love that John Daly's in it. I think
There's a ton of golfers.
There's
in
a
it.
lot of golfers.
But
in
I'm
it.
talking about like the original, like Ben Stiller is in this.
He is
Okay.
still Ben Stiller's spanking
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Obviously, shooter.
I think this. I like that they remade it, and I like that it's Netflix, and I think it's gonna be not better than the original.
It's
You can't-
not going to be better.
It's not gonna
But
be better.
It's
No.
going to be a nostalgia fest.
Yeah,
They're just gonna
it's gonna be
show
We're
you
in the
people and
nostalgia
moments. Yeah.
era.
Also,
Yeah.
speaking of Ben Stiller, if we're talking movie trailers,
Don't you dare spoil anything Severance.
no, I'm not.
They all
Okay.
die.
Yeah. They're all.
I am
yeah.
caught up with Severance, and I'm not going to bring that up here. But with Ben Stiller writing and producing and being involved in Severance, which says a lot because I think it's one of the best shows I am currently watching and probably will go down as like my top 10 forever. He is producing and starring in a new movie that has Jack, the dude from
Nicholson?
New Girl.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know his last name.
It's Johnson. Is it Jack Johnson? No, that's a singer.
Yes.
That's
No.
a singer.
It is Jack Johnson. Or
Is
John
that-
Jackson.
It's one of those. The New
But
Girl
that-
guy. It's
he's an
Nick
actor.
Miller. Yeah, Nick Miller
Yes.
from New Girl.
yes.
Something Johnson.
Jake Johnson.
Jake Johnson.
Johnson.
There it is.
So it stars Jake Johnson and Ben Stiller in the movie that Ben Stiller is producing, and it's about it's called the Dink, and it's about pickleball.
Oh, I thought it was double.
So
income,
it's
no
like-
kids.
No, it's like the dodgeball, but
Okay.
for pickleball.
Got it.
So I'm
There's
also
so many
excited for
good
that.
comedies coming out with Paul Rudd and
Tim Robinson.
Tim Robinson.
I'm ready for that too.
And then there's one with Bill Murray and Pete Davidson that's
Yep.
coming out. Comedy is on the come
The
up.
Tim Robinson Paul Rudd movie, I'm very much looking
I
forward
kind
to.
of want to get together with all the boys and watch it.
Watch
Should
it.
we rent out a movie theater?
Is it
We
is
should.
it in the theaters?
I don't
it
know.
will be. It will
yeah,
be.
let's rent out a movie theater.
Let's do it.
Final thing about golf. What do you think of Rory stealing that fan's
Rory's
phone?
a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Roy's a piece of shit.
I thought
I think
Very
if we're saying
juvenile.
fuck Tennessee, Rory falls in that category of like this podcast hates. I hate fucking Rory.
I hate him.
That
I hate
was such
everything
a
about
Bush League
Rory.
move. So going up a guy heckle, he just goes and steal. What? How juvenile and petty?
Who's
is
most
that?
likely? Who has the best chance to win the Masters?
Oh, I think that's too early.
You think
isn't
it's
it?
Scotty though?
Yeah, it's definitely Scotty.
Masters odds?
Because I'm definitely betting on Masters. I might take Scotty. I think we should do our normal like lineup for Masters.
I don't even know if they have those out yet. Because we're a few weeks away from the
DraftKings
Masters.
might have it.
Scotty Scheffler plus 490, Rory plus 600, Ludwig Aberg, plus 1,300, John Rahm plus 1,300.
Tiger Woods won't be in, right?
No,
He's hurt.
he blew his Achilles. Morikawa 1,700, Bryson 2,200, Matsuyama plus 23, Justin Thomas plus 24. And then you kind of get into your plus 3,000s with Koepka, Cantlay, Smith, Lowry, Zalatoris.
If it's not Scotty, I want it to be an Asian boy.
No,
Well,
sure.
I want it
The
to be
great thing
Morikawa or
is-
Matsuyama.
The great thing is we can get heavy into this in a couple weeks.
The man has to get home. is
Yeah.
what he's- yeah. And
We still got March Madness, but yeah.
It's March, baby.
well, enjoy your time at the your little boys trip without
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, I guess that's cool.
He's got friends outside of us.
Whatever.
So weird.
It is fucking
Whatever.
weird. It is weird. I'm doing a
I don't
second
hate
bachelor
them,
party,
but
you know, I'll enjoy it. It's not gonna be as wild as Cabo.
nothing.
They're
ever will
getting
be.
me up early to fucking not golf at Gearhart.
Yeah, you're gonna go drive
To
around
ride
watching
the
your
cart.
little phone.
Yeah.
So, that's all we've got.
All right, clear eyes.
Lord.
Can't lose.